Hi, I'm Maria Pippidis, and I work with the University of Delaware Cooperative Extension. I'm a family and consumer science educator, and I focus on financial management, health insurance literacy, and farm stress. I'm an accredited financial counselor, a financial fitness coach, and actually, I also serve as a county director in Newcastle County. I've been with the university since 1992, and over the years, I've had lots of experience working at the individual and community level in my programming efforts. This project has been a number of initiatives, all with the focus on building resilience in our farms and farm families and their communities. It's a collaborative project with the University of Maryland Extension, and it began with conversations with Dr. Bonnie Braun, who is the professor emeritus at the University of Maryland Extension. We were trying to focus on but get a better understanding of how to build the capacity of our extension community to improve the well-being of our farm audiences. And the project evolved over time as our understanding of the issue and the resources to support the project grew. A little background about how we got here. Bonnie and I concluded that stress management was a necessary but insufficient approach for Extension and our partners. And so we had an opportunity because many professionals were offering information about stress and managing it. But the education was necessary, but not very sufficient. And so we agreed that we needed to do something more and that we could do better and that we needed to create different approaches for creating change. Thus, the problem of distress provided an opportunity to address impacts of stressors. After much discussion and studying the literature, we agreed upon our premise for approaching the problem, and we found that it would take an integrated and research-based and theoretically sound systems-focused approach to effectively prevent or mitigate risks of stressors and build the resilience of farms and farm families. Speaking for both of us, we deeply believe it will take this approach in order to make stronger, more thriving families. We had a vision, and it was influenced by the health and wellness report that ECOP published in 2014. And we began to envision that Extension in the 21st century could do for the resilience of farms and farm families what it did for agriculture in the 20th century. We know that farms and farmers face ordinary and extraordinary stressors. And we also know that there are long-term impacts of those stressors. And there are a few summarized on this slide, but one particular finding that really struck us was this idea that a key reason that stress can impact and inhibit decision-making and the adoption of agricultural and conservation practices. And this has implications for those of us who are trying to encourage farmers to apply the latest research to their farming. Another key piece to this is the notion that there is a role for family and community in helping to prevent, support, and mitigate those stressors that can lead to these long-term impacts. And so there are services out in the community, and there is training that can be done with community and family members, and there are policies and resources that could be shifted so that there's better support for our farming populations. Because of our family resource management and family consumer science training, it really encourages us to think of things from a systematic approach. And so we designed this visual of the farm and farm family risk and resilience socio-ecological model because we couldn't find something similar that included farms. And so this is otherwise a typical socio-ecological model that puts individuals kind of at the center, and then from there, the additional levels moving outward of those environments and systems that affect those individuals. Recent Farm Journal data suggests how communities responding to the issue of farm-related stress have done so with a focus on the individual and the helps for the individual. So they're not focusing on the community or the environments in which farms are embedded and how those environments impact or support farming systems and their families. We believe that in order to support our farms and farm families, it will take a community-based multi-systems approach. After multiple discussions with colleagues and presentations, we determined that there was a need for a comprehensive review and a resource tool. We conducted an extensive review of literature that included the theory behind farm stressors and resilience, and identified assessment tools and educational tools that could be used by extension professionals. We created a guide for extension professionals that was released in January 2020, and we gave several presentations. And there was such support, we decided we needed to do some updating once COVID hit and life shifted. In the summer of 2020, the University of Delaware Extension and the University of Maryland Extension sought some funding to support an electronic version of this guide and other experiments with technology. And University of Delaware was awarded that NIFA, New Technologies in Agriculture Extension grant that made it possible for us to update and create an EPUB. And the front of the EPUB and the URL is right there. This model is identified in the guide and aligns with kind of the family and farm business, and it looks at the long-term family business sustainability. This model is a bit complex, but we really like it because it helps to put the context of the family and the business and those disruptions that can cause stress within the context of community. So what have we done? And what I've tried to do is kind of align the things that we've done with that socio-ecological model. So at the public and enabling environment level, we've worked to connect with and involve state and regional organizations. We've created, in Delaware, a farm stress task force to identify issues and connect resources. And we've provided some professional development opportunities. At the organizational level, we've garnered grant funding to support a farm and ranch stress assistance network Northeast extension cohort team. We've provided additional professional development. We've garnered some other fundings for some of the other projects, and we've developed resources for use by organizations to support farms and farm families. At the farm level, we've certainly tried to include information about farm stressors and ways to manage and where to get help in things like our weekly crop update, which is obviously weekly newsletter that goes out to farm producers and agency personnel. We've conducted some focus groups for a project that we're funded through the Farsan organization on integrating humor and communication skills when talking with farmers about stressful situations. At the individual level, we've engaged healthcare professionals to attend what we call our Ag Week and other meetings where agricultural producers are available. And at those meetings, those healthcare providers are conducting screenings and offering referrals. We've conducted some workshops to increase awareness of and how to manage stressors directly for farm audiences. We developed the Got Your Back website containing all sorts of resources on a variety of stressors and also kind of resource and referral connection information. Within the guide and also through some of the programming that we've done, we have created a whole host of tools, logic models that really focus on how to begin to build resilience for different audiences. So there's 3 logic models, one for professionals, one for farm audiences, and one for key stakeholders. There's some program planning tools that help people, extension folks, kind of begin to plan how to conduct programming at multiple levels within that socio-ecological model. And then there's some kind of fun tools that we've used with farmers and used within our programming, like the How Healthy is Your Farm video and the self-assessment, as well as what we call the stacking game, of which there's kind of a photograph on the slide here. And that URL where these tools can be found are on this slide. So what were some of the outcomes? So over the last few years, over 600 extension and non-extension professionals have been exposed to the Building Farm and Farm Family Resilience Guide. And on here are some of the quotes that we've heard from people who've attended the program. And most compelling, I think, is the one in purple that says, you know, before I was exposed to this training, I had no idea or interest in addressing farm stress within the programming that I'm doing. And since then, this individual has garnered lots of money through the FARSAN funding opportunities to help support what he's doing in his state. One of the other outcomes was the development of 3 and the offering of 3 different community forums. And with these forums, what we did was we invited people from different community sectors like agriculture and health and mental health and health insurance and finance and credit and legal and food systems. And all of those community sector organizational representatives then learned about and joined action groups to work on identified projects. Some of those action groups then created activities that, and I've listed here some of the things that they've done, right? So there was a 16-page Delmarva Farmer insert that was developed all about farm stress and resources. We've invited the healthcare professionals at agricultural meetings. The mental health first aid training has been offered in Delaware multiple times since 2019. We've had internal organizational training. We've had some additional grant funding to support projects, and we're working on a food systems website. Other outcomes have been through professional development. Over 550 people have participated in one of the 18 programs that we've done. And we've done some targeted programming for healthcare and mental health professionals, as well as for those in agriculture, and presented at several extension-oriented conferences like the National Extension Risk Management Education Conference, the National Extension Association of Failing Consumer Science, and through professional development opportunities through the National Technology in Ag Extension Initiative. And you can see that there has been evaluation done and impact that people stated, you know, created change for them as a result of attending. So as you can imagine, there was a team that really helped make this happen. It was a fantastic team, and the team grew over time as the project sort of evolved. And so there are representatives from the University of Delaware Cooperative Extension, the University of Maryland Extension, and of course I needed to include our NTAE wraparound services team. I really wanted to thank everyone who and acknowledge all the contributions that these team members gave to these projects. And I appreciate the funding that we've been able to garner in order to extend the projects. And I really also wanted to say thank you to my director, Michelle Rogers, and Assistant Director Jen Volk for nominating myself and acknowledging the work that myself and this team have done to really help address farm and farm family stress and building of resilience for them within our community. And I would say there are a couple of big takeaways, I think. One is that an ecological systems model for preventing and mitigating farm and farm family distress really works. And this multi-systems approach can serve as a model for illustrating levels of systems change and suggesting locations for interventions. It's a way to rethink how we're doing what we're doing or building on what we're doing. It provides a really great visual for internal communication within extension professionals from multiple disciplines and encourages cross-program area collaboration. And also it's a great visual for engaging people outside of our extension system. What I think really is important is that it engages the broader community to build a more thriving agricultural food system. And through our efforts, we have really shown that by kind of stepping out of our comfort zone and working at more of a community level, there are so many interested and vested partners out there that we could be engaging who bring something new to the table or different to the table and can help us reach even more people. So with that, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to share our program and what we've been doing here in Delaware and Maryland, and for providing an award and recognizing the contributions that we're making.